What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to our 2025-2026 Fantasy League draft for the WWE Fantasy League that we have over on smarkoutmoment.com. Who are we? Well, you should know on your screen and know everything by now, and you should know us just by our voices, but I am Tony Mango, joined as always by Robert DeFelice, right underneath me, and by the guy who is controlling everything that goes on with the Fantasy League all the time, Callum Wiggins.
If I was controlling everything, I'd probably do a better job at winning it.
Last whole setup that we had ended up being Rob in first place, Callum in second, and me in third, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, of course, if you want to know... if you want to know the full setup of all of the fantasy leagues that we've done in the past, go to the wiki page for Smark Out Moment at fandom. Is Smark Out Moment with hyphens.fandom.com, I think is what it is. Or if you're too confused, then it might be fandom.wiki. I don't know, whatever it is. If you Google Smark Out Moment wiki, I think it pops up. Or probably if you Google WWE Fantasy League Smark Out Moment, maybe it will. I don't know. If you are confused about where it is and you need a link, actually, I should probably have just put a link in the comments, but I'll sort that out.
You can still do that.
Yeah, I can still do that technically. I can edit this on the fly, but I don't want to mess around with my screens because we're still doing a bunch of weird setups with this Discord thing. Discord still doesn't have NDI, so it's not quite as easy as the functionality was on Skype. But Skype went away, so or at least it's going away in the next couple days or so. So we are still playing around with a different setup.
Skype.
It's tomorrow is when it is. I guess that's May 1st.
Yeah.
So, big middle finger to Microsoft for that because this was easier. Although I do like the audio better, so whatever. But we have our setup on screen right now in a way that I think is functioning. Of course, if anybody that's watching this finds any kind of glitches or something along those lines, then let me know in the comments below. But it should be a function where you could see the three of us on the screen, and you should be able to see our draft board as well. I'm going to try to move some things off of my screen right now that hopefully will not interact with Discord in a weird way, where that way I can hopefully see the live chat if we get any kind of live things going on with that. Kind of impromptu that we're doing this live. I mentioned that we were going to potentially do it, but I never gave anybody a time frame. So I'm not anticipating a whole lot of people joining us. But if you are joining us live, then make sure that you let us know if you were like, somebody's got to pick so-and-so or something like that. Callum's going to give a breakdown of the rules in a minute and all the other details to go along with that. But before we get started, I want to remind everybody that, yes, we are doing this stuff on Discord, and that means that in the future, we are also going to try to incorporate more Discord chats. So if you want to join our Discord, which you can just, chat it up on the text side of things like that. You don't have to be part of the video or audio stuff. But if you want to, then you have to join the Discord to be able to do that. Link is over there. It's on the description below on YouTube. You can find it on the sidebar, Smark Out Moment. Bunch of different ways you can find it on there. Join the Discord, have some fun over there. If you want to help support us across the board when it comes to a bunch of different other things, if you're on YouTube right now, hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed, ring that notification bell. Click on the thanks button, toss a little spare change our way. Click on the join button as well, and join the YouTube channel membership to get access to the Darkcast tier, the Patreon stuff. All that's exactly the same as it is on YouTube. Only difference being that you can't do any live things on Patreon. So we did a live Darkcast as the last Darkcast, and that was rolled into the Discord thing. So that is actually going to be how I do that, I think. Is if you are on the Patreon tier and we do any kind of live Darkcast thing, then we'll probably have you join in through the Discord, and then you'll just be muted because, whatever it is, unless you're a part of the tier that you can talk about it. Point being, a bunch of different ways you can support us on that front. Redbubble and TeePublic is also where you can get merchandise if you want to pick up a shirt or something like that. So the Fantasy League stuff is... you can find it at WWEFantasyLeague.com for the points throughout the season and everything, and you can find the previous season and everything. But as far as this season is concerned, we got a draft, and the rules change every year. Callum adjusts it to keep things fresh and try out some different things. Maybe some things worked, some things didn't work as well. Make a lot of tweaks and all. So before we draft anybody, we got to know how we're drafting, what we're drafting, all that kind of stuff. So Callum, I'm going to pass this over to you. Give us a breakdown. What's going on?
Okay, so here are the rules that I've hastily put together in my little notepad before I transition it over into the actual written page, which will be up in the lead up towards Backlash once the teams are all settled and I've got all the details nailed down. But here it is at the time being. So a lot of it takes a lot of similarities from last year and a couple of years before that as well. But there's always one major kind of gimmicky sort of change, and I'll explain what that will be shortly. But first of all, just get through the obvious minutiae. So teams are drafted from across the entirety of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT rosters. Each competitor this year will select 12 superstars. It's going to be a cut down version rather than I think had 20 at our peak last time. So I'm going to try and streamline it a bit more. It's a lot easier to manage when it's only 12 people per team. Just giving myself a little bit of a bit of easier time with the admin this year. In a snake style draft, as we always do. So we're going to have Tony, who came last place in the predictions contest this year, will go first. Then it'll be me, and then it'll be Rob. I've still got the order like this, where it says Callum, Rob, Tony, but that's just because I just copied it over from last year's one. But I should be able to navigate myself well enough to know which one I'm picking or which one I'm going to.
Well, let's see order, because I can just shift it on the screen right now.
Oh, yeah, we can change it. So it's Tony, me, and then Rob.
Okay, so
middle pick.
So let's switch that.
It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because we all get an even sort of picks together, but it just gives Tony a slight advantage by getting to have the first pick because he was so bad in the in the fantasy league last year. So
yeah, goddamn, man, I thought I picked some good fucking people, and they, I don't know what happened. So I gotta make sure
it was fairly close at the end. Like it wasn't like a mile apart. Like it had the potential to be. It looked like I think at a certain point you were probably about 200, 300 points off. So you managed to close it up towards the end. So okay, so the first 3 picks of each team are 100% protected, which means they cannot be removed unless the player chooses to remove them themselves. In which case they can designate another person from their roster to become a protected pick. There will be a reason why they're protected picks, as I'll explain later on. Both male and female superstars are eligible, of course. Tag teams, factions, and stables are not drafted as units. Each superstar must be drafted individually, so you cannot draft the Judgment Day. You'd have to draft Carlito if you were so crazy to do so on his own. But points are only scored for results on PLEs and episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Anything that happens on main event, Evolve, Speed, anything like that does not count to the points scored. And here is the big gimmick for this year. All competitors will have a starting maximum of 15 trades that they can make at any time during the season. So these trades can occur at any time during the year, with the newly drafted superstars' point scoring taking effect the week after they are drafted. So let's say Tony or Rob just comes up to me and says, I'm thinking of dropping this guy for this person. Then the person that they want to draft will fulfill the rest of the week's point scoring and then will be traded over the following week. This is to prevent stuff like, because there's a rule later on where like if a superstar gets released, well no, we're joking about that sort of stuff before we got on the recording, but if somebody was to get released, there's a 50-point penalty to that, so you can't just have the person be released and say, I suddenly want to drop this guy and get this other person in instead, and so I don't feel to face penalty. You'll still face the penalty for that week and any other penalties that they suffer for the week in which you intend to draft them over. So essentially every trade has a kind of start next week approach to it. So rather than what we...
If you wanted to, for instance, say like, okay, on a Friday, they announced that, I'm just going to pick 2 random people, that Aleister Black is going up against Jacob Fatu for the United States title. And you're like, oh, I want to draft Aleister Black because I think he's going to win on Sunday. Then because it's only 2 days ahead of time, you're not going to get the credit for the title change?
The week starts as of, the weeks run from Monday to Sunday, as they've always done from the Fantasy League thing. So essentially, if you find out on a SmackDown that match is going to happen and you think the title change is going to happen, you should have just had Aleister Black in your team in the first place. So that's kind of... So it's always just a case of you have to plan strategically ahead. Yeah, and also, like, most of the time, I know WWE doesn't make a habit of announcing stuff last minute, but most of the time you know a good portion of the match is heading into a pay-per-view, and so you can kind of strategically decide, okay, this is the moment to do it, and it comes in like a first come first serve basis. We'll probably like set a period thing where, because obviously as the person that's running it, I have a bit of an advantage, but I always message the guy saying that I'm going to trade someone before I actually do it. I'll never do anything surreptitiously or hide any trades that I'm making. But it's essentially be like a first come first serve thing where, like, literally if you just want to make a trade, just let me know, and then I'll let you guys know when I'm deciding to make a trade. And then I'll keep a tracker of when trades are made, and essentially we've got 15 throughout the year. That's your limit until I discuss ways that it can slightly be increased. But that means that you do have to do it somewhat strategically. You don't want to waste so many of the trades before SummerSlam even happens, and then you're just left with the same team that you have from then until WrestleMania. So I imagine that will keep it slightly more interesting. And then the other kind of gimmick that I've put from it is to kind of match over to something that we did in previous seasons as well, is that at SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble specifically, each competitor will add one more superstar to their roster. So by the end of the season, there'll be 14 people in each person's rosters, with the first pick going to the person who's currently in last place and the final pick to the person that's currently in first place. This is meant to be kind of like a semi-blue shell type of catch-up mechanic.
It's a good analogy for it.
Yeah, so essentially, like, it gives the person that's currently in last place a bit of a leg up by saying, okay, if someone's doing well on the roster, who's done well, like, at SummerSlam and isn't currently on any of our rosters, they can pick them first, and then the other guys get to add to their teams after that as well. And then also, as has always been the case in recent years, with each pay-per-view prediction that people get right, that gives them advantages. So with every single PLE prediction victory, the winning competitor earns one additional trade for the season. So whoever wins the not the Backlash one, because we don't do the predictions one for Backlash, that's the starting point. Actually, do we do it for Backlash? We might as well do it for Backlash, because it gives you an advantage at the start of it. So after Backlash, yeah, I think we did, yeah. So we'll keep that up then. But at Backlash,
it starts with Backlash.
Yeah. So at Backlash, whoever wins the pay-per-view prediction contest for that will start the season with 16 trades rather than 15. And they also get to double the points of one of their superstars up until the next PLE, whichever one the June PLE is. I don't know what that is at the moment. I think it's Money in the Bank, maybe.
I think Money in the Bank's July. It's either Money in the Bank or... Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, whichever one it will be. Okay.
It's Money in the Bank.
Oh, okay.
Good. Okay, so when someone reaches 3 and 4 PLE prediction victory. So this benefit applies to when you both hit your third PLE win and your fourth PLE win. If that makes sense. So essentially, you'll earn both. Well, actually, you get a choice for each one of these ones as well. I need to just remember this one. So when you get your third PLE win, let's say Tony wins 3 in a row, you either get to choose to add 25 points to your total score. You just get a free 25 points on top of what you currently have. Or you can make an unlimited number of trades for free on the week following the pay-per-view. You could change your entire team if you wanted to and not face any sort of penalty for it. So basically it gives you an option. And you also get to do that if you get 4 PLE wins as well. So that both the third and fourth PLE win give you the same benefit.
Definitely rules that we're going to be bothering you throughout the season to be like, how's this work again?
No, I totally understand. I'll obviously keep refreshing your memory and stuff like that as well. But when someone reaches either 5 or 6 PLE prediction victories, because Tony did get 6 PLE victories last year, so this is possible, you can either choose to earn 50 additional points to your Fantasy League score, or you can forcibly trade one of your opponent's unprotected superstars, or you can trade one of your superstars for another one of their unprotected superstars. So if there's someone in their team that you're eyeing up that isn't protected, then you can choose to swap it over instead. Just thinking whether you want the immediate gain of the 50 points or whether you want the ongoing benefits that the other person would have on your team. And then if someone reaches 7 or more PLE prediction victories, so this applies for if you win it 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, if you win every single PLE prediction contest, you can either earn 75 additional points to your Fantasy League score, and considering that there was only 60 points, about 60 points separating us from end scores this year, that could be a huge leg up in the competition. Or you can block out a slot on an opponent's roster for the remainder of the season. What I mean by that is, we've got 12 people in our teams. You could basically cut someone down to 11 people on their roster for the rest of the season.
Which could really neuter their team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a point of, by the time that anybody could potentially even get 7 PLE prediction victories, there already won't be much of the season left. It had to at least have been like halfway through the season. But I think that it could be quite an advantage, especially because WrestleMania weekend is always double points. That's always a big moment where things change around quite a bit. So if someone is handicapped by having one less superstar, that could be a big advantage or a big disadvantage for them. Other than that, the points scored each week is pretty much the same as it was. So if you appear on any show, you get 1 point. Win a match, you get 2 additional points. If you lose a match, you lose a point. Draw no contest, get 0 points. So essentially, if you appear on a show and you have a match and you draw, you get 1 point. If you appear on a show and win a match, you get 3 points. If you appear on a show but you lose your match, you get 0 points. That's basically how it goes. Pay-per-view, if you appear on a show, you get 2 points. Win a match on a pay-per-view, you get 5 points. Lose a match on a pay-per-view, -1 point. So, and then we'll stress this rule because it seemingly was forgotten, so I'll make sure to stress this. If a superstar does not appear on any TV show or PLE show during the week, the superstar loses 3 points for the week. So, you want your people to be appearing. Even if they're not winning, it's better than them not appearing. So, that'll probably be one of the biggest things in terms of influencing trades, is if superstars get injured or superstars get taken off TV for significant periods of time.
Yeah,
Then
I'd like to draft. I'd like to invoke my right as the winner to draft Omos as a protected pick to Tony's team. Okay, like.
Well, I'll pick
think-
one person like that. I'll pick Miko Satomura for you.
Yeah. And I'll get Dwayne.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody,
that's fun,
I
though.
see we do have some people in the live chat. Let me know again if you are seeing any kind of glitches, or maybe like our audio isn't syncing up correctly or something like that. Let us know if that's the case. Wanted to shout out Guy123 and Ashton. Just say what's up in the meantime. So anyway, continue.
Anyway, and then we have the special like bonus points that you get for certain like special results. So if you win a battle royal, you get 5 additional points. Win any kind of tournament, get 7 additional points. That includes like King or Queen of the Ring if they decide to run that again this year. Win the Money in the Bank, that gets you 10 more points. Win an Elimination Chamber, 10 more points. Win an Iron Survivor match for NXT, that's 10 points. Win a Survivor Series elimination tag if they decide to ever bring those back, you get 5 points. Win a War Games match, 5 additional points. Win the Royal Rumble, 15 additional points, of course, because the Royal Rumble is the biggest match of the year. And then the points associated to every championship. So we have our World Championships, which is your WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Women's Championship, Women's World Championship, NXT Championship, and NXT Women's Championship. If you win a World Championship, you get 10 points, 10 additional points to whatever you scored that week. Mid-card titles, that's Intercontinental, Women's Intercontinental, United States, Women's United States, North American, Women's North American, Heritage Speed, all those other little bits pieces. That and all the tag team titles, so Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Women's, well, it's technically WWE World, NXT and Women's now. Win any of those, you get 5 additional points onto your score, and any successful title defense gets you 3 points. And then
Now you mentioned speed. Does speed also give you points if they defend?
only if they defend it on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT.
Well, at least you get the 5 points for them winning the championship.
No, because they have to win it on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Points
Okay,
only.
well then why are you mentioning speed at all? I was like,
I don't
cool.
know what they're going to do in the next
They
year.
could change the rule. Yeah, I mean, they've had the 205
That is
Live.
true.
Eventually they had the Cruiserweight Championship defended on Raw. So
Exactly, yes.
I guess so.
at some
You
point
never
that
know
deal
what
with
they're gonna
X is going to roll out, and then they'll just get rid of the championship or something. So
Yeah, probably, yeah. But they might decide to keep it around. You never know. And then the only other major thing is the points deduction. If a superstar gets released who is on your roster at any point in time, that is a minus 50 points directly onto your team. And then you will then be asked to replace that person with somebody else who's a free agent from the draft pool. That doesn't count towards your trades for the year. That will just be like you already suffer enough with the minus 50 points, so you get to just have it's just an emergency substitution. Call it that. So that's the basic rules.
God, that's nerve-wracking in some cases, though, because you never know who they'll release.
Exactly.
Especially because that should be right around the corner. This our annual release is post-Mania, so we could end up having somebody that's like, as much as you think that people are safe. A couple years ago, it was like, I mean, they're not going to release the people that were just 2 out of the 3 people that were in the world title match, and then there goes Bray Wyatt and there goes Braun Strowman. So,
yeah, obviously, if anybody does get released between now, us drafting and Backlash when the thing starts, then obviously you can just trade out. You won't suffer any penalty for that. But yeah, that's basically the rule. So, the real major change for this year that people need to be aware of is the limited number of trades you get to make throughout the year, and the fact that the trades can just come and go as and when people decide to do so, and then the additions that will come to the teams both at SummerSlam and Royal Rumble. So we'll make sure to keep everyone posted about how the teams are doing and how the points are going and how the rosters are developing as we move on, and in trades that take place. We'll make sure to mention on either like an episode of the hot tags or anything like that, but you can obviously follow everything along most closely by going to www.fantasyleague.com and checking out the most recent page. But without further ado, then I think that is all settled in terms of what the points are going to be. So I then invite Tony Mango to make the first pick of the 2025-2026 season. Oh, sorry. There's one final thing that I should mention. I was meant to include it on the rules, but I think I overlooked it. I'll make sure to add a note to do it later on. Similarly to last year, you must select a minimum of 3 NXT superstars to your team, and that means they have to be in NXT as of right now. So if you believe they're going to get drafted up in the future, that's totally fine, but they have to be in NXT right at this moment. But you have to draft at least 3 people from there.
Does that mean that we can avoid the hassle of last year where Hikuleo and Lance Anoa'i never showed up?
Yeah, what the hell, guys? Much, yeah. Fucking Talatanga. I lost so many points. That ruined so much of my game, is drafting that motherfucker, and he still isn't on the screen.
I would always advise, and I know this sounds like crazy, that I'd probably advise drafting people that are actually on the roster and on TV over anything else, really.
Well, I mean, you say that, but Joe Hendry has been on 2 episodes of NXT and was on WrestleMania. So
if you want to draft Joe Hendry, you're more than welcome to. I mean, you could draft Fu Manchu if you wanted to, but he's already not going to score you that many points.
Sometimes you take a risk and it works. Okay. Sometimes you take a risk and you botch month after month after month.
Yeah, exactly.
If I draft Fu Manchu and Hulk Hogan appears, do I get the points?
I guess he's kind of like his tag team partner, so maybe I can allow that. But yeah, I think we're ready for Tony to make your first pick. So remember, these first 3 picks are your protected picks. So these are the ones that you probably want to have the most security over. Make sure that nobody under any circumstances can take these away from you.
It's tough to say who do you want to have the first pick for in particular, but I think the safest thing for me to do, fingers crossed, is go with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I thought he would go quickly this time.
I think that's a fairly safe bet. So
I got a feeling he's going to win that championship from Jey Uso, or at least he should win a championship this year. If they're flat out saying
he's going to win the world title,
he's like, well, this is our game plan for next year's WrestleMania, so he should do that. He should be on almost every episode. He should win most of his matches. I should at least get appearance points. I think Rollins is the best bet for me. And it's all downhill after here.
That. Okay, so I get the second pick, and there's definitely options for people that could, I think, could win world championships. I personally think, though, I'm going to try and go with the first one to win by 1,000 cuts a little bit more. And I'm going to choose the second half of Seth Rollins' faction. I'm going to take Bron Breakker as my first pick.
Damn, I was hoping that somehow that would come back around to me.
My belief being that he may not win any major championships because obviously Seth is the front man of that group, but he's probably going to be the one that's wrestling more often than Rollins, so he might get more victories.
And with the position he's in, he might just maul everybody.
Exactly.
So,
And he could even be the guy that beats Seth Rollins at WrestleMania and win the championship, get a big boost at the end of the year for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have theories on that already.
Austin Theory. Is that your first pick?
You drafted
No. Definitely not that. Although, if they ever want to run back that whole thing, they could pair him with Rollins again. No, my first pick, I'm going to keep it simple, stupid, and protect the guy who got me through last year and take over Sonny.
It's a safe enough bet to go with
Not a
your
bad
first
pick.
NXT guy and one of the most protected guys in NXT. See how long he holds this title for, but you would assume that if he gets called up, he'd be well positioned. But again, you never know. They dressed Karrion Kross in a gimp mask, so.
Now, Rob did tell me ahead of time he wanted to pick Nikita Lyons, so put it on his team.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he was talking about the draft with that.
Yeah. Different scoreboard. Let's see. This is a second protected pick, so I want to be really wise here. Now we lose 3 points every time somebody's not on TV. I feel like that's important.
Yes, that's why I was very confident no one's going to pick Roman Reigns very early on in this. They might decide to risk it later on, but he's not a high priority.
You know what? He just suffered a major defeat, but I still see him being a killer. I'm gonna take Gunther.
That's not the person I thought you were going to pick there.
What were you thinking?
I was going to pick the other guy that had a very devastating defeat into WrestleMania, but will come back stronger. I'm going to go Cody Rhodes as my second pick.
There goes my pick.
Yeah. So now I need to just hope that you don't pick the other person, the one last person that I want to have as my protected pick.
So this is tough because this means these two picks of mine are my two protected picks, and
Yeah, these are your final ones, yeah. Admittedly, like the only way that you could lose it is if someone gets like 5 or 6 PLE wins. So it's not the most jeopardous thing that it was in the past, but it's still worth keeping an eye on just in case.
But even still, just the idea about these two that I pick are the protected picks, so that locks me into that being the case instead of me being able to shift them around. So like,
yeah, you need some foresight here. You
can always drop your protected picks.
Right.
You can always trade. You can trade whoever you want. Yeah.
But then if I get the other person saying like my fourth pick, it's like, oh, I can't swap that into my protected pick, right?
No, not unless you trade the person out. So yeah, there's no trading within teams.
Okay,
but,
so
yeah, I get what you're saying with that one.
There's 5 people that I'm bouncing around in my head right now, which makes that very difficult. That it's
Talatonga, Tamatanga,
There are actually there's 7. There's 4 women that I'm debating about, and then there's 3 guys that I think could be solid picks for that. I'm gonna play a little bit safe. I'm gonna say Jey Uso.
I did not think he'd be a protected pick.
Yeah, I expected him to be picked. I didn't expect him to go that quickly.
I'll spoil this. He would have been my first non-protected pick.
He's in that range, but for some reason, my brain was telling me if I don't do that, I'm gonna be like, oh, that would have been such an obvious thing. And the other one, I think I'm gonna go slightly askew from what I would be leaning normally. I'm gonna go Stephanie McCurr.
Oh yeah, man!
He turns into the Count anytime that he sees her do that move. Guy123 in the chat asking about some stuff that we are going to talk about on the hot tags. We will address this stupid Hulk Hogan thing for sure.
Could I ask? Did you make your third pick? Because my
Settings
he
occur.
said,
my
said Stephanie
my
McMahon.
internet crashed out for a second there, so I didn't hear anything. So I'll put that in now.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, it's a very good pick. Yeah, and that's one of your NXT ones done as well.
More than likely, she is going to lose that championship before she wins something else, but they seem to really, really like her. So I think that's a good sign for the future. And I'm already going to be so disappointed at the next 5 picks or the next 4 picks that happen. And I know that you guys are going to steal all the people that I was just thinking about.
See, there's like a couple in my mind about which ones I want to take. There's two in particular that I'm tossing up between. But I think the safer bet is Bianca Belair.
Yeah, there goes one. They're going to start dropping like flies.
She's a good pick. I will take. So, I want to take this person because they're a very protected person, but they also don't wrestle that much anymore. But I'm gonna hope that this year sees them wrestle more than last year and say Rhea Ripley.
There goes number 2.
Yeah, it's good. Another good pick. Not the one that I was tossing up between her and Bianca, but still a very good pick.
All right, now that this person is no longer protected, you're taking the good with the bad here, but John Cena.
Okay, that was not one of them. I had 0 plans to draft John Cena.
Yeah, I didn't want to risk it. Really,
he's gonna be champion and win title matches a lot.
However, though, he's only going to be around for 20-something more days.
Yes.
All the weeks that he loses the 3 points.
As long as those days are televised, and he might be able to get away with it, but it depends, really.
I think I'll get 1 appearance point per month, if not, a title defense successfully.
It seems like that immediately seems like there will be buyers remorse in the next couple of months about that one, but that's what the trades are for.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works.
I'm gonna take Jordan Grace, my first NXT.
Ooh, I thought about taking her.
Grace.
How'd you forget about Jordan Grace? She's gonna beat Stephanie McMahon.
I just completely.
I don't think she's beating Stephanie McMahon.
I don't think she is quite yet.
I think she's winning NXT titles. Julia's going to beat Stephanie McMahon. But
you think she's going to beat Julia, who beats Stephanie McMahon?
Exactly, yeah. I'm just building it up because Jordan will win a lot of matches before that. So
I'm very thankful that I could grab for one of my 2 picks here, Roxanne Perez, because I do think that she is winning some kind of a champion this year.
Are you glad?
Yeah, very glad.
She's not off to a great start.
She's got a an 0-10 record at the moment for this year. I think she's won a single match in 2025 so far.
I think she's gonna be drafted up pretty soon, and then she's gonna start winning some stuff. And then I'm blanking on who that other person was that I was bouncing around between. It was on the men's division. It was not NXT guy. Who was
Uncle
it?
Howdy.
It was certainly not Uncle Howdy.
How about Auntie Hello? That'll be Alexa Bliss's new name.
Let's see. Who was it that I was thinking about? Like going through this right now. We'll go. No, actually, that's not going to be a good. A great pick. Wait, what was the number when it comes to appearance points? 1 per week?
Yeah, 3. No, you get 1 if you just appear. You get 3 points per week if you win a match.
Okay, and you lose 3 if they don't appear.
Yes.
Okay.
There's somebody that I am going to put on the back burner for now.
I mean, you can think about it as well, because you could just be thinking about people for the next like month or so, and then just trade them out afterwards.
True.
These teams could look very different in a couple of months' time.
I'll go Dominic Mysterio.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. Yeah, you imagine he'll hold that Intercontinental title for a little while at least.
And
he's going to slip on a banana peel a couple times.
He'll constantly be on TV at least.
Yeah.
He's going to lose some matches, but, you know.
So, what's up next?
See, we have Peter in the chat. Tony was thinking Kevin Owens. No, I was not thinking Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he could have been.
What's the name you were thinking? Chris Benoit? No, it wasn't Chris Benoit either. I can say with all certainty it wasn't going to be Benoit or Owens.
Yeah. That Owens pick would have been a real pain in the neck. Definitely not you.
Oh my god, I wonder who the hell that was.
That was Brock you were hovering over?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just hovering over. Oh, fuck it, let's go Rusev.
A little earlier than I thought.
He'll get pushed for a little while. He'll get pushed for a little while. That's probably a bit too early for me as well, but it's just like, yeah, he'll get pushed for a little while. Just beat jobbers on TV for a while.
He'll do his, I'm going to do the exact same gimmick I did in AEW, but with less enthusiasm.
Hey, that's the Triple H playbook. Yeah, that's the Triple H playbook.
He fell into the abyss. All right, like he didn't go anywhere. He was on his way back to Bulgaria, and he fell into the abyss.
He bumped into Joseph Park.
I can't believe they said that on television. All right. Ricky Saints should keep the title for a while.
Not a bad pick.
It's also an NXT pick out of the way.
Yeah. Good choice.
Now I'm thinking of one of three women. And
middle one.
Just go Scarlett.
I'm gonna go Io because she'll at least wrestle more than the other two I'm thinking of.
So, not to necessarily spoil it, were the other two that you were thinking of Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton?
Or were they Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair?
One of those four names was one of the people I was thinking of.
Ricky Saints and Io Sky.
Who's the other one that he was thinking of then?
Mina.
All right. Yeah.
Ain't nobody Mina.
The go-to joke for like 4 years now.
Right.
Callum, you want The Miz on your team, right?
I wish he wasn't even available to pick, but like this. Well, that's fine. One of you idiots will take him because Melodome Miz have so much potential.
I could say with relative ease that right now, with the amount of picks,
I don't think I'm picking Miz. Yeah, I don't think so.
I'll pick one of Sabin and Shelley over the Miz or something like that.
Oh,
that's right. For actually more main roster.
I just pick. You know what? This is a bit of this. No, I'm gonna hold on that one because I don't think you'll pick them until later on. So instead, I'm gonna go Becky Lynch.
Bold, but you will have the Women's Intercontinental Champion in about 2 weeks' time. So
yeah, I don't know how much she'll wrestle, but at least like, I mean, she's given an good indication. I mean, she wrestled twice in 2 days, so admittedly one of those was like 3 minutes long, but still.
She then also said, "I'm not wrestling unless it matters." So I think she's not going to be wrestling too much, but she'll always appear.
Yeah, that'll be a big deal. I think she'll be part of the faction, maybe with Rollins and Breaker as well. So maybe that'll help out.
That would be better, I think.
She was the other woman from earlier when you picked John Cena that I was like, oh, there's another woman that had been overlooked that I was thinking about grabbing on this next turn, and I was like, oh, nobody grabbed her, so I'm gonna pick Dom and all that stuff, and I should have just picked Becky then. Should have thought about it, but
if I was confident that she'd wrestle with any frequency,
yeah,
I'd have picked her, but I don't think she will.
So next 2 picks for me, I think I'm going to go with some guys that are going to stick around for quite a while, do some good stuff, and not necessarily just like win championships constantly, but should be very reliable. I'm going to go Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre.
Jacob Fatu should have a good year.
Should.
It started very well, so. There goes Jacob Fatu, and there goes Drew McIntyre. That frees up the path for me to pick Julia.
Damn.
That's my second NXT pick.
I really should have
Notice how I'm going with like
the
the women event and the women of NXT, because I don't know if I can really trust many of the men in NXT right now.
Yeah.
I've got the 2 men from NXT that I want that I don't think I'll be taking anymore. Well, that's a lie. Maybe
you
one more.
have to pick one more person from NXT regardless anyway, so.
It'll probably be a woman.
Woman.
A woman. I'm all right. I'm gonna. This will be my first out there pick.
Cena was your
thinking
first
Naomi
out there pick.
Yeah, Cena.
No, Cena I'm secure in because he's got 26 dates, but he's gonna be WWE champion. I think Naomi's gonna win Money in the Bank.
I was not planning on drafting Naomi.
I don't think I don't know whether I'd have gone that, especially not that early. But yeah, I can understand it. She might get a reward for giving Jade Cargill a half decent match at WrestleMania.
And on top of that, I'm gonna say if she doesn't, Charlotte Flair will, because she hasn't yet. So I'll take Charlotte Flair.
It's hard to bet against Charlotte. Although anybody that said that rule heading into WrestleMania ended up being wrong.
Hmm.
I have 2 people from NXT, that's right. Okay.
Oh, you've got 2 already. You've got Stephanie and Roxanne.
I was just like, wait, do I need to? Yeah, but I forgot that I already had 2.
Yeah. Let's see who else could be worthwhile going for.
Javier Bernal.
Penta.
Damn. I was really hoping to grab Penta and Rey Fenix.
I mean, you could still grab Phoenix if you wanted to.
And I might.
It's not like a proper like fantasy draft we're doing where we like want to keep the teams together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
no, we can screw each other over this.
Yeah. I don't get benefits for them both being, unless like they do start teaming together and just have matches and winning things together, then they're both scoring the same points. So
I'll go, I guess. I think I will draft Rey Fenix. And then
choice.
I feel like I should add another NXT person just before I forget about that and end up being like, oh, I have to draft somebody that's not going to do anything. So I think just to play it a little safe, I think I need to go with somebody that is probably going to do some decent stuff in NXT rather than some main roster stuff or whatever. So I'll go. Ooh. There's 2 people that I'm thinking about now. Maybe I'll wait because I don't think both of those are going to be drafted by the 2 of you before I can come back around to this. So, I'll put my cards on the table. Here's some people I'm thinking about. AJ Styles, possibility. Sabin and Shelley, possibility. Could always draft somebody like an Ethan Page is a pretty solid pick potentially. Carmelo Hayes is a pretty solid pick. Hikuleo, not a chance I'm going to draft that guy.
He's technically not even on the roster, but just because I saw people reporting that he's going to be actually appearing soon. That's what I decided to add him on in preparation for it.
I think I'll go with. No, I'm just going to do it. Sol Ruka.
A double champion. speed doesn't count apparently, but she is a double champion.
If she defended it on any actual show that counted, then it would count. So
yeah, but Women's North American champion, she should retain that title for at least a little bit.
Okay, having a bit of a look. I'm going to go with one of these NXT. Going to go with my final. Well, it might not be my final NXT pick, but at least to fill the quota, I'm going to go Javon Evans.
Interesting.
Good chance that he wins the championship this year.
Yeah, he's going to win. He's going to win the world championship this year. I have a lot of faith in that.
Ashton asking in the chat, do you get points for winning a tag title if you have one half of the tag team? Yes, you do.
Yes. Yeah, all points are individual. So yeah, if let's say Phoenix and Penta did become tag team champions, then Tony would get points for the win, and I would also get points for the win. So
Peter just brought up a good point too. Naomi said that she's going to leave WWE to go get pregnant.
So, when did she say this?
I forgot exactly when, but I think it was like 2 days ago or so that she said something about like her biological clock is ticking, so she really wants to have a kid soon. So that might be another buyer's remorse pick for Rob.
That's well.
She's gonna swap Money in the Bank for Bun in the Oven. That's what's gonna happen.
That's good.
So we're on Rob's picks.
Getting back.
Yep.
You're on my picks. Definitely not drafting Jimmy Uso. Not only because I just heard that information, but Jimmy.
I don't think he has to take time off as well. That'd be quite funny if they had to both take time off during that.
He's got to put in the work somewhere, and it's not on TV these days. Let's see.
You could always go Cruz del Toro. You could always go BFAB.
No, I'm not going Cruz del Toro. I'm not going Akira Tozawa.
Don't you think Apollo Crews is going to come back and win everything?
No, but I do think that Aleister Black is back, and he could be winning for a little while. So I'll take him now.
Aleister's back.
Similar to the Rusev thing. Maybe he'll know how to kick someone the next time he has a match.
That's one half of your snake style picks.
I know it's already pretty slim pickings, isn't it?
Yep.
See, that's like the thing is, there are people that I think could be making some solid runs and do some good stuff, but when you look at the board, you see a lot of other people too. Like, I think within 100% guarantee, nobody's going to pick Dexter Lumis. Nobody's going to pick. I highly doubt anybody's going to pick Cora Jade.
You would if the Wyatt Six actually did anything. You would pick Dexter Lumis or Joe Gacy just to get the points for appearances, but they completely fell off.
So who's your pick?
I'm going with Priest.
Oh, Priest.
I'm going with Priest just because, like Drew McIntyre, he'll win. He's going to win some big matches at some point this year.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Okay, let's see.
And when it comes to if you aren't released but you're killed off, like Luca Crucifino, how does that work?
I think I'd have to see the release form on his corpse before that would count it.
Body tag.
So, I'm hoping that he's not killed off, but if he doesn't show up at Battleground, I think he's killed off.
As soon as I see Sean report it, then I'll know. Because obviously I won't know when WWE says anything, because they won't say anything.
Don't do it anymore, yeah.
As soon as Sean gives us the memo, then I'll start taking points off.
So last three picks for Callum.
Yeah.
Down to the wire.
Yeah. I'm going to look, because surely someone should pick her now, Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, going a little late for the women's champion, but I don't know. I feel like she's going to be one of those champions that loses a lot on TV.
I could see her dropping the title within the next 3 months.
Probably. She might get pushed back up afterwards.
Maybe.
I don't think she's going to fall down that far. She doesn't seem like one of those ones that's going to be like Nikki Ash when she won the world title and just fall back down the card. I think she's going to at least stay somewhat prominent.
She did beat Charlotte. That has to count for something.
Yeah.
I want so bad. I'm not going to pick her right now, but I want so badly to pick Liv Morgan. But since she just said she's taking time off, it's like it's not a smart pick for right now.
By the way, fuck those tag titles, huh?
Right, yeah. Just as soon as you win them back. Yeah, by the way, I'm going to leave for a while. So I'll go Carmelo Hayes. And... I feel like this one's tough because I feel like this one's going to dictate what my next one is going to be, kind of almost by default. Well, I only have an option to pick a couple of these, so I'll just say their names. Debating between Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul, LA Knight, Trick Williams, and trying to get a tag team like Fraxium or something. Which are basically who I'm... maybe Jade. Jade might end up winning the championship this year. Those are 7 or 8 people that I'm kind of bouncing around between. Although something tells me if the guy doesn't get picked, that's going to be a mistake or whatever, so I'm going to go CM Punk.
Yeah, I was thinking why that name hadn't been mentioned at all, but yeah, I was a little bit hesitant because I just don't think he's going to wrestle outside of pay-per-views.
Probably not.
That's why.
Then again, appearance points.
Yeah, he still get it. So
if he, shows up post-Mania.
I'm glad you told me about that. Her leaving for the Muja role thing because I was going to pick Liv Morgan for my next pick.
Oh,
so.
Damn, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah, supposedly it's like some crazy movie role that everybody's gonna shit themselves when they hear what she's doing.
But it's supposed to be not superhero related, right?
Something like that.
Because a lot of people are like,
Doomsday, yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, she's gonna be Harley Quinn. It's like, well, they're not doing anything with Harley Quinn right now, anyway. But even if that's like, she's not gonna be cast as Harley Quinn. But
yeah, Margot Robbie still exists.
There's always a chance that she's cast in like, I don't know, Spider-Man or something.
I thought it'd be I would have thought it'd be some sort of horror thing because she's like a big horror watcher, isn't she?
I can see it being that. Like she's like the real life bride of Chucky or something.
That doesn't feel like a major role though. But anyway, my next pick. Let's see what I'm going to go with.
Everybody has their 3 NXT picks, right?
Yeah, so we're not bound by that anymore.
Or
I still need one more.
Yeah, Rob needs one more.
Yeah. So I could take another one to try and make it to
try to force him to pick Wendy Chu.
Hey, I don't know whether we'll get that far, but just so I'm not getting like super like, oh, this person's definite in my mind, but I think for now, at the very least, and always trade them later, I'm going to go with Kofi Kingston.
I was thinking about Kofi.
Kofi was one of the possible tag team people that I was thinking.
At least for now, obviously, that's one that will probably get traded somewhere down the line, but...
Astrograph in the chat, you can see the draft is up on the side, or what, right here? Am I pointing in the right direction? There? Yeah, over there. That side. That. There. You know what I mean.
So for my final NXT pick, I have 3 names rattling around my brain.
I might feud so one which I think you'll pick, but I would never pick. So
I think you're thinking of Jada Parker.
No, I'm not.
Are you thinking Fallon Henley?
Why would I ever be thinking Fallon Henley?
No, for Rob.
If you're not thinking. I mean, again, different draft board, but thinking about it and like
Just go with your pick, and I will inform you where I was.
So I feel like Zarya or Jada could beat Sol Ruka, but I know Trick Williams will be on TV, so I'm gonna go with Trick Williams.
It was. So if those were the three that you're thinking of, then it wasn't the person that I was assuming.
Who were you assuming?
I was assuming you were going to pick Cora Jade.
Why the fuck? Well, no. I'll just say very, very quickly. I don't think anybody should probably pick her on this draft board. It wouldn't be good. My final pick is Roman Reigns.
You might as well. You never know. He might at least appear at Backlash.
So last pick for Callum, and then last pick for me.
All right, final pick. This one I can take a little bit of just a swing at, I think, and just hope for the best.
You heard him, Omos.
Or just go for someone that I think will just give me short-term gains with the view of almost certainly trading them within a couple of months. In which case, I probably should be looking at a
You already picked Rusev.
I did. Should probably be looking at a champion right now then. But, you know, we'll go for this instead. Let's go with Nathan Fraser. Because I like Fraxium and I hope they do well. So, let's go for it.
I was definitely considering picking up either Axiom or Fraser, splitting a tag team thing since I can't get both with my last pick. Don't think that I would be smart enough to pick DIY or Street Profits necessarily, or Motor City Machine Guns right now, or, you know, a handful of other people that should be in a pretty decent spot. Like, you would think, I mean, the biggest heel of a good portion of last year sold to Sikoa. You would think that somebody would pick him, but that's just not a smart pick right now. Man, I wish that there was a situation where we were like, now it's time to pick Karrion Kross or something like that. But so the people I'm debating about for this final pick, because it doesn't matter, nobody's going to pick after me, are AJ Styles. I think that there's a chance that it would be a good pick to get Logan Paul, even though I don't think he's going to win that championship. A lot of people were really worried about that. I don't think it's happening. I am very much thinking possibly Randy Orton, even though he's certainly not going to beat John Cena, so that's giving me a little bit of pause. I'm debating Jade Cargill. I'm debating Zelina Vega, who would be one of those, like, she is champion right now, and, you know, wouldn't be a long-term pick, but Zelina could be somebody to keep an eye on. The Liv Morgan pick could still work out, because, like, if she takes time off, maybe she could take off, you know, 3 weeks, and that would be it.
Yeah, but she's somebody that you pick. She's somebody that you pick once she's back.
Most likely.
You know, then it's a mad rush to pick her.
So
I mean, is she gone like immediately now? Because like she's still a tag team champion, isn't she?
No, they literally were like
starting, yesterday.
They were literally like, by the way, I'm leaving because I have a major Hollywood movie, and Aldis was just like, yeah, sure, go.
Right.
And then Dom was like, yeah, me too. And he's like, no.
No, you're a champion. You can't do that.
Yeah, okay.
Completely disregarding the rule about the tag team titles, being like, I can't do that with my champions, but you're a tag champion in the women's division. That doesn't matter.
It's so clear they don't give a shit about those belts. It's amazing.
They really don't. I think it's not going to be a great pick in the long run, but my brain's just telling me go ahead and do it anyway. Sami Zayn.
I think that's a great pick, and I'll explain why. I think Sami Zayn is being set up right now to where if it's not Breaker, Sami Zayn's beating Seth Rollins for the world title.
It's a possibility.
I mean, they kind of hit
the first thing that he did is get his ass beat by Braun Breakers. That's why I'm like,
you kind of go with like they kind of like buried the lead a little bit with the subtlety hammer on like on Raw with him saying that he will win a world championship. So like, I don't think they would just say that without at least some. Obviously, things can change, but I think they probably got him to say that with at least some semblance of an idea that he's going to win it at some point this year. So, or next year even.
Not that I think it's going to happen, but it would be kind of interesting if Sami Zayn won Money in the Bank, cashed in, and beat Jey Uso and turned heel. I would think that would be pretty fun. So that is the lineup.
These are things.
Those trades, it could be very quickly that we're all like, all right, we're gonna make 3 trades or something like that.
Yeah, me. I could see me being the one who in 3 weeks is like, yeah, that Naomi pick's not working out. Okay, cool.
How much did you lose for Cena? How much did you lose for Roman? Oh man, they just Charlotte just said she's taking more time off.
Yeah, Charlotte has decided that she's taking more time off.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's going to be very strategically driven as to when people are changed around, and you have to just make sure that you protect at least some picks towards the end of the year. You can't just immediately try and throw people out and hope for the best. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this limitation on trading will impact us and how we approach this. But for now, these will be the teams that we at least go into Backlash with Backlash being the first point-scoring event. So yeah, and we'll also have the pay-per-view prediction for that as well, and that will influence if somebody gets a little bit of a head start with an extra trade and one of their team members on double points. Yeah, so this sets in motion what will be happening for the rest of the year, seemingly, and heading into WrestleMania 42. Who knows which one of these people will be in one of the 4 main events of that show.
Not gonna be Jey Uso, I can tell you that. I don't even know he's my second pick. I'm gonna catch up on some of the chat things I missed out on. Ashton said Tony almost took Brandy Rhodes. No, I was not planning on picking Brandy. Again, different draft. Then we're talking. Hope we get Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium. Definitely should happen this year at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas coming back to be the new Undertaker. I feel it's fair that Callum had the knowledge about Liv. Yeah, realistically, it's fair because you might not have seen that. So, you know.
Hey, listen, you have to come in as a fair thing. Like, if I didn't know, then that's not like fair game. Like, if my ignorance should not like hinder other people's or like stop me from making bad decisions.
No, we play by Cody Rhodes' rules here. We'll willingly hurt ourselves as long as it's in the honor of doing things right.
Astrograph says, respect to Rob for picking with his heart. Rob always picks with his heart. Even if it's the other mock draft thing, it'll be like...
What pick here did I pick with my heart?
I think that
I'd be worried if you pick some of these with your head.
Can you do a Mount Rushmore of the best technical wrestlers? We haven't done a Mount Rushmore in a while, so we're long overdue for doing one. I think the last one we did was like August or something. It's been a long time.
I don't think all these guys are technically wrestlers.
Solo main event at SummerSlam. It was match of the year. Sarcasm. Yeah. Seth Rollins is going to hold that title down. That's why I picked him first. Wow, no Chelsea Green. Yeah, no Chelsea. Nobody picked Chelsea.
Well,
she did just lose the title. But Jey Uso probably went high, but gets drunk a lot. That's what I say.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention there's a minus 150 point for drunk driving offences.
Well, shit.
That's why no one picked Jeff Hardy either. So,
although if you fully went into Rob picking with his heart, I'm sure you would have been like, "I want the Hardy Boys in there."
No, if I fully picked with my heart, this would have been like the year of. Well, I just think it's gonna be Jay Parker's year. And she would have been my protected pick.
The Bronson Reed pick.
Yeah, I mean, let's give him some credit. He didn't pick Bronson Reed, so
yeah.
So he's learning.
Waiting for that Jeff Cobb pick. He's just gonna show up on TV.
Should be any day now, right? Like, his contract's over.
Yeah, any time in the next 12 months, because he'll sign in the next couple of weeks, but then they won't just put him on TV until like WrestleMania next year.
You know what's going to
They don't
happen
bench-
is he's going to sign, and then they're going to debut him, and he's going to be Tala Tonga.
They don't bench people in this company.
So
No, he's gonna be corn on the cob.
that was a corny joke.
They give him a corn gimmick.
That's his corn name.
Callum, who do you want, and who do you think will win on Dynamite? Ospreay versus Hangman. Not going to get an opportunity to talk about it until afterwards.
Well,
so.
that's
Well,
not
that's not the
Dynamite,
match
but-
that's happening anyway. But
It's Kyle and Hangman.
I think they're just
And then
prognosticating that it will be eventually because Hangman's winning that
Yeah.
match. And I don't think they'll run Fletcher and Ospreay again so soon. Not that I would be against it because they just literally have great matches against each other. But yeah,
Tag
Hangman
Man
will
too,
win.
yeah.
And then I really don't know who will win that match. I think the fact that because I was still I wasn't on the post show for Dynasty because I was asleep probably at that point. But yeah, I was fully convinced that Swerve was winning the title on that show and facing Hangman at All In. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But yeah, I think that Ospreay will win and will win the title at All In. So
I'm not going that far. I think that he's going to lose at All In, but it's not for the future to talk about.
Listen, you can't put all of your eggs in a guy that might fall off a mountain.
I wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that they will.
I mean, Moxley's the champion, so that shows that he has no problem putting eggs in a basket of a guy who would fall off a mountain.
True. If anything, he's like, I want to do that. In fact, was do the match on
Why don't we
Everest.
wrestle on the mountain?
we're gonna have the first ever match on Mount Everest.
And I'm gonna
It's just
fall on
gonna be,
a barbed wire mountain top.
That's the end part of the match. It's Moxley at the bottom of the base, and Darby Allin
Oh, Jesus.
does the coffin drop from the top of the mountain.
After at some point in the match, Moxley's gotten impaled on top of Everest, right on the summit.
See, we know what's happening.
Yeah, we know what's going. Yeah.
Well, the big swerve has to be Sting coming in down from a helicopter to help Darby on the mountain.
I think Strickland is the big swerve.
You beat me to it.
He could be.
All right. Well, that is the draft for this next season. Of course, WWE Fantasy League.com will have a bunch of things up on that. The wiki that I mentioned before will have the list of everybody else that has won and the different points that have been over the past bunch of seasons, past 8 or 9. I'm forgetting exactly how many seasons we've done. And we do have more stuff coming your way this week. We got another episode of the Hot Tags, which is either going to be Friday afternoon or it's going to be Thursday night or something. I don't know when we're going to record it. Kind of depends. But the game plan for next week is, of course, we're already into Backlash. Just like that. It's already Backlash. So we got to talk about that stuff, run down the pay-per-view stuff. This is when everything's going to start. And all the Fantasy League points will start being accumulated. And if there is some kind of set of releases that we are kind of worried about, then that will, of course, be addressed on a future episode of Hot Tags or something like that. Could do an impromptu live, might not. I don't know. Basically, you got to stay tuned. You got to stay subscribed. You got to have those email alerts set up with those little alert bell icon things you can see on YouTube. And then, if anything's posted on smarkoutmoment.com, you'll see that up there too. So show your support in any way that you can. Make sure that you are checking out the link tree at amangotree.com to find accounts all over the place for different things that I've got up on there for all my stuff. If you want to follow me on most of them, I'm at Tony Mango or that's Smark Out Moment or at Fanboys Anonymous or something like that. So show your support there. I've been playing around a little bit more with that what if Pokemon thing. I kind of think I've figured out a template now that I like quite a bit. And that might mean that maybe if I get some, some free time, as if it's going to happen, that you might start seeing some stuff with, what if Roman Reigns was a Pokemon? What would his type be? And what would his team be? And I've got notes for out of the blue one night recently. I was like half asleep and I was like, Yokozuna, we need Hariyama. And like all this kind of stuff. So I do want to do some of that stuff in the future for fanboys and for Smark Out Moment. So if you like Pokemon and you want to support that, that's another thing in mind. Still wanted to do more movie reviews and fan tracks and plenty more stuff. We'll see. The more support you give, the more we'll be able to do. So follow all that stuff, share, favorite, subscribe, all that, and make sure that you're following Rob and Callum too.
Yeah, follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. Check out my work on Fightful.com. Check out Fightful Select for all the best scoops in the world of wrestling, including some stuff about AEW All in Texas that I know went up recently. And yeah, check out Fanboys. Check out all the watch-alongs we've done. Check out A Review to a Kill, even though it's a couple of years old now. There will be more Bond coming at some point, so, stay fresh. That series will come back. And until then, just check us out and check out what Callum has going on.
So you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Wigmeister14. Check out the power rankings every Saturday over at smarkamoment.com, where I rank the WWE superstars based on their previous week's performances. And then, as we have discussed throughout this entire thing, what this whole podcast is about, check out the Fantasy League once it is up and running over at WWEFantasyLeague.com. I probably will look to try and get up the new page as and when, probably over the weekend. So be sure to check that out. That's where you'll find the spreadsheet with all the rosters on it. You can keep up with all the latest goings on, see any trades that have taken place, check out what the point scores are, know what the rules, if you want to do your own fantasy league, you can copy our template that we have up on there as well. So yeah, just follow all that stuff along and hope you enjoy this coming season.
Real quick, check in the chat again just to see. I see Guest 5 says Fantasy League. It does pop in my mind every once in a while. And new page here. What was that? New page here.
New page here.
Yeah, maybe somebody will draft her later on this year if she ends up joining it.
Somebody's going to draft Paige at some point this year.
All right, everybody. Well, that does us in for this one. Thank you for joining us live. Thank you for listening after the fact. Thank you for listening to us on the audio-only streams, if you're on that, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, Amazon Music, whatever it might be. Thank you for all your support, and we will see you next time around with the Hot Tags, episode number 700. Crazy. So, adios for now, everybody. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we are being counted out.